Hello everyone. Let's have a look at the double entry rules that we're going to use to record transactions and events. From the previous unit, we looked at the effect that the transactions and events have on the accounting equation. That is your assets equal to liabilities and equity. Now, this is a simple format of your accounting equation. We have an elaborative accounting equation which says assets is equal to capital plus retained earnings plus income minus expenses minus drawings. If we look at that method, the equity is expanded into capital, retained earnings, income, expenses, and drawings. Keeping in mind that expenses and drawing have a negative effect on your equity. So what we need to do is we need to transpose off all the items which have a negative sign to the left-hand side. So our new accounting equation would be assets plus expenses plus drawings is equal to liabilities plus capital plus retained earnings plus income. Now we have two sides of your accounting equation, the left-hand side and the right-hand side. Left-hand side having assets, expenses, and drawings. Right-hand side have liabilities plus capital plus retained earnings and income. Now we can deduce that the items on them left-hand side will increase with the debit and the items on the right-hand side will increase with a credit. I'm looking at only the increase here. So the items that are on the left-hand side will increase by debiting and the items on the left-hand side will increase by crediting, which brings us to this method that we'll be using, which is called a dead click. So for an increase in assets, expenses, and drawings, you need to debit those accounts. For an increase in liabilities, capital, retained earnings, and income, you need to credit them. Now, let's look at the items one by one now. Items on the left, you have assets, expenses, and drawings. And then items on the right, we have liabilities, income, retained earnings, and capital. Now, let's look at assets, expenses, and drawings. For an increase in these items, you need to debit them, which means whenever you debit these accounts, another account will be credited. If there is a decrease in assets, expenses, and drawings will cause these items to be credited, which means another account must be debited. From this, we can get now that for assets, expenses, and drawings, to increase them, you need to debit those accounts. For a decrease, you need to credit these accounts. On the right-hand side, we have now liabilities, income, retained earnings, and capital. For these items, for them to increase, you need to credit this account and debit another account. To decrease liabilities, income, retained earnings, and capital, you need to debit this account. If you debit those accounts, then another account must be credited, which brings us to this rule now. For the items that are on the right-hand side, which are liabilities, income, retained earnings, and capital, they increase on the credit side by being credited, and then they decrease by being debited. Thank you.